Okay. Okay, welcome back. Just wanted to make sure I was being recorded
Dude,
here. Uh,
I have to tell you, I feel like we're real. Like we've come so far. We have to commend you, Brian. Like we've come so far from our
oh yeah, Brian's done a
hot
great
start
job.
beginnings. Well,
And now,
thank you.
now we have this excellent streaming system, so we can go online. It's in HD.
Streaming
Yes.
reminds me
Yeah.
that I have to pee because I'm over 50. I'm
Uh,
streaming. Like, do
all
you
right,
have a
so
large prostate? No, you're streaming.
hey, I got to tell you something about this. I probably should have
Prefaced.
teased this earlier, but Whole Foods. There is news out about Whole Foods, and it had. I was already gonna do. I had already picked this topic last week, but then uh, just today this article was out, and I thought it was very significant for Whole Foods. I'm gonna actually read you the article.
I love it.
This is from
Breaking news
Market Watch,
from
Uh,
Metropolis.
entitled "FDA Warns Whole Foods Over Serious Violations in Prepared Foods." Okay, by Jesse Newman and Heather Haddon.
Well, you know how much work it takes FDA to get involved.
Yeah. Well, all right. Okay. Whole Foods Market has until the end of June to remedy, quote, serious violations discovered by federal regulators during a February inspection of a Massachusetts plant that supplies ready to eat products across the Northeast. In a warning letter to the company's chief executives dated June 8th, the U.S. FDA said that Whole Foods had failed to manufacture, package, and store food in ways that reduce the potential for contamination and microorganism growth. On a long list of problems, FDA inspectors said they found foods like pesto pasta and mushroom quesadillas being prepared or stored in places where condensation was dripping from ceilings, a doorway, and a fan. It said the company kept dirty dishes near food, didn't supply hot water at hand washing sinks, and allowed high pressure hoses used for cleaning to spray into areas where foods like couscous and salad, like cuckoo,
And
couscous and salad dressing were being prepared. And that sounds so gross. I mean, is
Yeah.
that like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
spraying the sidewalk
Oh.
and like that water is
not
like
couscous.
going into the couscous?
Dude, I have to
That's-
laugh a little bit
all
as
right.
I watch the people at Whole Foods scurry around with their little carts.
But it's a little ambiguous the way it's worded,
Yeah,
so
you
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure. Okay, a Whole Foods spokeswoman said the company has corrected each of the issues identified in an earlier warning letter from February, and that they were surprised that these thorough and tangible steps weren't reflected in the June letter. So, this is I think, a very toxic story for Whole Foods. And I'll tell you, the reason is, it would be a less toxic story for a Kroger, because Whole Foods, their whole reputation is high quality
Yes.
and expensive. you know?
Yes. Your whole paycheck. That's what they call it.
So you're not, if you begin to doubt the quality, then you're not going to shell out for those high margin goods at Whole Foods. You'd rather go to Trader Joe's or Kroger or whatever.
Now, does Trader Joe's compete with them? Like, is that kind of
Trader Joe's, but they're not. Trader Joe's is much cheaper,
Yes.
for one thing.
But it's like
And
inexpensive.
it's also a little
organic.
more eclectic as to what their inventory is.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that could be toxic too.
yeah,
for
I
sure.
think that this is a very bad story, and Whole Foods needs to make it go away as quickly as they can, and hope that it doesn't damage their brand, because I think it has the potential
But
to.
weren't they spraying bottled water through their hoses?
Probably.
Well,
And what's this dirty dishes? Like
they're
the
just-
people are like,
they
and
don't
the-
have. They're not.
the
washed,
workers in
yeah.
the plant are like eating and like
Yeah,
making
just-
food with one hand,
Yeah,
and
no washing.
yeah, they didn't wash their hands with hot water.
They're probably
Just
laughing about this is going to Whole Foods. This is organic. It's organic. It's
Yeah, it's organic, just like the snail that
Well, weren't they
fell into
having,
it.
They were having other trouble with same store sales or something, right? As far as numbers are concerned, Whole Foods. I mean,
It's been a little tepid, but yeah, this right. Well, let's get into their other operations. I just wanted to make everyone aware of this very current issue that I think is a very real threat for Whole Foods. Now, let's
Good
go.
thing most of America doesn't read.
Well, good thing for Whole Foods, but actually, I would tend to
I think their audience would be
yeah,
well-read,
their audience
well-versed on that.
right reads the paper a lot. So let's dial it back in time and go to 1978, where John Mackey and Renee Lawson borrowed $45,000 from family and friends to open a small natural food store called Safer Way in Austin, Texas.
Oh wow, Safer Way.
Yeah, now that's a clear play on
Safeway.
Safeway, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the supermarket chain that used to be a public supermarket chain, but I
they
think
took it
someone
private?
acquired it, or so. I can't remember what happened, but Safer Way.
Really big in California.
You wondered that like Safeway didn't sue them, but they probably didn't even know about it.
We should have thought about the R. Cover your bases.
So they opened this store. All right, these two guys, and when the duo was evicted from their, and then I wasn't sure.
They were evicted?
Yeah, from
These
their
stories are
they were
the best.
evicted from their apartment. Okay,
Oh, they were evicted because they were running a grocery store out
for
there.
storing food products in their apartment.
They didn't
They
get
had the
written up by
inventory
FDA.
like in their.
They didn't get written up by the FDA.
No, nobody. I mean, this was like 1978. We're shooting from the hip.
Our bodies.
And
are
so okay, all right, it gets even grosser. All right, so all right, when they were also, I want to ask this: when the duo was evicted, do you say from its apartment when you're talking about the duo, or do you say from their apartment?
I would say from their apartment.
That makes more sense. But
Well,
when you're
unless
talking
you're
about
talking
the
about the-
duo is the subject of the
business, right?
sentence.
Yes, you're right.
Is the subject of the sentence. So
I think it's its. I think would stand corrected.
and
on that.
I kind of like that. The duo was evicted from its apartment.
Batman and Robin with their E. coli stained clothes.
So, all right. So since they were evicted, they decided to live at the store. All right.
That's even grosser. Go ahead.
Because it was zoned for commercial use, there was no shower. So they bathed using a water hose attached to the dishwasher.
Wow. So this is taking the pressure off Whole Foods right away. This is a great.
Except that
follow-on
it is. These guys still are the run Whole Foods. These two
Oh.
guys I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
So this slip and slop, these slobs, who and we should be surprised that they're letting water splash from the sidewalk up onto the food.
Oh my God! I will never, ever, ever take their little card again.
No, I'm being way too harsh. All right,
Hey,
but
habits.
it does say something. All right. Anyway, it's a funny story. All right, so in 1980, they partnered up with the owners of another grocery store called Clarksville Natural Grocery, and then they opened the original Whole Foods Market, which was a combination of those two businesses.
Now, on two things, look, we've jested with them, but I totally respect the fact that they did what it took to launch their company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I respect that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, right. You got to struggle,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah, they went through some tough times.
Very tough
yeah.
times. Apparently still.
Yeah, right. They're living in the. Hey, I'm ready to go.
We have
They
the
need to watch
produce
my
department,
segment.
we have the meat
It's like-
department, we have the indigent department.
Dude, you're here all the time.
They got to do that. They got to watch that public service announcement I did that teaches you that it's okay to shower before work. So,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a good thing.
yeah.
Okay, so all right, they opened their first Whole Foods this is in Austin, Texas.
I didn't know they started there.
They concentrated on marketing toward women. Okay, and
That's a smart move.
right, they worked on that really hard, and it was effective. Okay, and they were able to open up more stores, and then they expanded out of Austin in 1984 to Houston and Dallas, and then they went to New Orleans in 1988. And then they expanded into California, I think like 89 or so, and then they began a long series of acquisitions, and this created a big expansion for them. They gobbled up Mrs. Gooch's Natural Food of California.
Mrs. Who?
Mrs. Gooch's Natural Food of California, which was actually, that was a pretty big store. All right.
All right.
They also gobbled up Bread and Circus of Massachusetts.
All right. If you don't
You know
have
that-
a weird name, you cannot get into the food business. Either that, if you don't like it, you have to go invent
right.
an element.
But notably, they bought Wild Oats. Okay, so
Full circle, crazy love
they
triangle.
themselves, Wild Oats, we discussed, was an aggressive acquirer,
Yeah.
and then they got Wild Oats in 2007, which actually brought up antitrust intervention from the government. But I think they made some concessions, and then they were able to get the deal through.
Why would there be antitrust just in the organic grocery market? Is that? I mean,
It's
they're not
called-
as big
right.
as Kroger.
See, now it depends on. That's an excellent question because it depends on what they define as the market. Now, when the regulators are they have a calculation for it, and you try and find out what percentage, of revenue the combined company would be of the whole
Okay.
overall market, and then how much diversity there is in the whole overall market. And so it depends on whether they define the market as grocery stores or like natural grocery stores.
Okay.
All right. So in this case, it was two
Natural.
natural grocery stores coming together. So I think they argued that was the market. But I don't know. I would argue the other way because I think that they're very much competing with Giant Eagle. And you'll see
Well, Giant Eagle's coming back.
Giant
with that
Eagle
organic
will
section.
revamps its stores and calls some of them Market District,
Yeah.
to compete with Whole Foods, really. But we all know Whole Foods has been a dramatic influence in grocery shopping for years, and changed a lot of things. So they are an innovator. They are someone who figured out a way to make something very pleasant that people hadn't really experienced before.
Yeah, they wanted.
Except, not pleasant on the wallet, in my opinion.
There was an article on loyalty programs in the New York Times this week, and it talked about like what makes a loyalty program effective. And that sounds like it's a divergent path I'm taking. However, it means that they want to have exclusive rights to things, and I think that's the appeal of Whole Foods. It's like we shop at Whole Foods, like right?
Yeah.
like we're a little.
I think it's like bragging
exclusionary.
rights.
Yeah, it's just like we're
The
doing
food
well,
is actually, I mean,
and the food is good.
well, I
mean,
feel like, if I'm going to get
I'm not getting the
fish
couscous anytime soon.
or something, that if I go to Whole Foods and I pick something up, it's going to be fresh,
You're right. I had the smothered gar, and it still had the pillow over its face.
Very
I
good.
thought that was
Gar is such an odd fish.
Come on,
to
that was
choose.
that was a good joke.
Mm,
You guys
gar.
didn't give me anything on that one.
I just had Gar last night.
did you? No, you did.
No, I did not. All right.
The smothered gar still had the pillow over its face. Come on, that was classic.
That was good. That's good.
So more recently, Whole Foods has expanded into Canada and the UK, and today they have 431 supermarkets. All right.
Only 431. I would
Yeah.
have guessed higher.
Well, that's about double the.
They're building one by
Sprouts
South Hills
Farmers.
Village, and
But-
they're going to have showers for the employees. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just guessing.
I thought. Yeah, I don't know.
They should make it like a homeless. Like they should have like an outdoor shower, like they do at the beach house.
Well, you know what's funny? Okay, you say that they didn't shower, but at Aldi's they were so particular. They wanted you clean shaven, and one day I came in with just like a little bit of fuzz, and they're telling me, "Oh no, you can't have that." They say some of our managers bring a razor to work and they shave on their lunch breaks to make sure they're clean
Wow.
cut.
Really?
And I'm like, I'm not shaving on my
That's
lunch break.
insane.
Oh wow.
I'm never shaving on my lunch
No,
break.
it's insane.
So they don't want you to body hair. What about a face tattoo? Are you allowed to have
They
a-
no, they would.
What if you
definitely
had
not
Aldi's
allow
like right
that.
across your forehead?
Oh, maybe I don't know. Free
Yeah.
advertising. So,
You're not that.
you know what? They're all about cheap advertising. So
Aldi's.
Uh,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
so, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, that all these would be. Well, but that gives you a little more confidence in maybe the sanitary environment. That
well, I
Aldi's-
will say that they do. Having worked there previously, they clean everything.
Yeah.
every day, and there's like a checklist they have to go through, and
I
I
kind of
mean,
like
they
that.
literally they even like the stock room, they like wax and mop the stock room every day
Nice.
and everything. So
I like that. That's how a store should be. Put some elbow grease into it, right? Make it
Yes,
work right.
yes.
Yes.
So
I'm telling you, clean bathroom is my first inclination anywhere. Like if you go any
Oh, yeah.
restaurant, I go in the bathroom first. And there's places
really,
you go into the,
like, oh, there he is again.
well, no, you just
The bathroom critic.
the bathroom blowout. No. But if you have a clean bathroom, chances are your food's going to be clean, right?
Sure,
I mean, even
yeah.
like, I mean, Wendy's historically, I don't know, they've been really slacking.
Yeah, I
about
would say
bathroom.
that's probably true.
Just
As many gas stations have too.
oh yeah, don't even go there. And if you're ever on the road and you have to go to the bathroom, go to a hotel. They always have a bathroom in the lobby that has to be clean.
Well, I always judge places too by the type of hand dryers that they have in their restroom. Like a company really cares about their employees or customers if they have an accelerator, but if they have a whirl dryer,
Yeah.
maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But they said that accelerator's a misnomer. It just blows germs all over the room.
I don't
That's-
know. I like seeing my skin vibrate.
Yeah,
that
it's
whenever-
cool. I like
Oh,
that
no,
too.
it feels good. I mean, it does. It does. But they're just saying it just stirs up the germs from the floor.
I don't really know.
You're in a little cyclone of,
I don't know. It can't be any worse than like whirl
Bacteria.
dryer that just like
yeah. What about
sprays hot mist at you or something like that.
you guys weren't alive for the one where we had the paper towel that came down and it just rotated and it looked. I don't
No,
even know where,
that still
that's still
exists.
I don't
around,
even know where
yeah.
that one
still
went.
exists.
Yeah. Not the
some
paper
places.
towels. But
I
the
know,
cloth.
that
cloth.
still exists somewhere, right?
That's crazy.
It's really gross. Yeah, because if it
'Cause you
keeps
don't
going,
trust-
it's
yeah.
like, did it go around again already? Yeah.
Laugh.
I don't know.
It does laugh.
But so, okay. So Whole Foods,
People are filthy. That's the whole point.
this company, as I said, it's about double the amount of stores as the Sprouts Farmers Market, but not even close to the amount of stores as Kroger.
So give me the numbers. Let's talk numbers.
So it's got a $10.44 billion market cap.
wow, that's pretty
Just to give you, so it's more than double the market cap of the Sprouts,
we
but
should have a metric sales per store.
less than half of that of Kroger's.
That's all right.
all
we
right.
can figure it out.
The stock is now at $31, and that's down from $65 in 2014.
Holy smokes.
So it's
yeah, they are getting pummeled.
lost more than half of its value.
Value, as Lionel Richie would say. Lost half your value.
So after that, is it worth buying now?
Let's talk about
The PE is 21.
PE 21.
It's got a dividend of 1.74%. That's the best dividend of the
Of
three.
the three.
An ROIC of 14%.
Hmm.
That's significantly below the PE, so I don't like to see that. Net debt to equity is pretty much zero.
Wow.
So that was really good.
That's really good that they can do this growth on zero debt.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Expected earnings per share increase for the year, 3.4%. Weaker than the other two, much weaker than Sprouts. So to me, even though no debt is a really nice feature, it's too expensive with 21. That's a difference of 7%, 21 to 14. That's a big gap to bridge. And when you don't have you have a mediocre earnings growth. You got a pretty good dividend, and you have no debt, those are bonuses. But it's not enough to get to justify it.
So we're like skunked this week.
I'm afraid we are. I don't hate any of these stocks, but okay. Aside from the metrics here, in fact, the Whole Foods metrics aren't that bad. Maybe I would even consider it if it weren't for this story. Okay, but when this story just came out today, you don't want to experiment and find out if it becomes big news and people start not shopping at Whole Foods. I would say you can't buy this stock now.
It's kind of like the Chipotle thing, right?
If
Like when Chipotle got dinged with that E. coli thing.
Well, yeah,
Are they
right.
Still, they recovered
hopefully
from
it's
that?
not as bad as that, because that was
pretty-
bad.
That's really bad.
That happened several times. Remember that?
Yeah.
It happened in Boston.
Hey, maybe preservatives aren't that
Happened in
bad.
California.
You know, maybe like we'll
Hey.
go with the preservatives and
Yeah, right. Rather than certain death. Bacterial meningitis.
Well, this was definitely interesting. I love this week.
Yeah, this was a good week. Right. I mean, seriously, the Whole Foods numbers aren't horrible. I would say it's a little overpriced, but then with this story, it just becomes completely unviable right now. Anyway.
Wow.
So,
Glad we ended on a good note.
Whole Foods, I like the longer story, but the immediate story, not so much. Anyway, thanks for listening.
This is fun.
This is Funny Money, and we're all out of funny money.
See you next week.